Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now today's video, very exciting to me. This is the flagship model for 2024 for the company Discoveryopt, the HD5 to 30 scope. A nice high quality, and I would say mid-budget yet still high quality scope for a rifle. And in today's video, again, exciting for me for a couple of reasons. Now, when it comes to my channel at this point and in my quote-unquote firearms career, I've had the ability to use scopes. I've used open reflex sights, closed reflex sights, magnifiers, all kinds of different optics, but I've never used a first focal plane scope. And that's what this is. So a first focal plane scope, this is definitely going to be cool. I'm pretty excited to get to use. But today's video, more of an unboxing, first look and impressions, a discussion about the features, because this is a feature-packed and feature-rich scope. So we're going to go through it in detail. Then in future videos, we're going to get this mounted. We're going to take it out to the range. We're going to put it through the paces and see how I can do with the Discoveryopt HD5 to 30. And so I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. If you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Discoveryopt who did provide this for review. And I would also like to remind you that I am currently in the middle of a gear giveaway. I'm trying to give away all kinds of gear, but there's only one way for you to take advantage of that. Do me a favor, look in the description box below where you can get all the details. And so again here, the Discoveryopt HD5 to 30. Now you'll also see this listed as the HD Gen 2 5 to 30. So in other words, a 5 times 230 times zoom. This is the second generation of this particular optic, and this has a 56 millimeter lens with 34 millimeter tube. So this is a large optic. In fact, this is going to outperform the rifles that I even own. Now, when it comes to first and second focal plane, I am certainly by no means an expert. However, I did have some people explain it to me. To the best of my knowledge, the difference is really going to be what you see in terms of the reticle and whether or not the reticle zooms with your zoom range. So in other words, where this is a first focal plane optic, we should see that the actual reticle zooms in proportion to the zoom range that we're at. So at 5 times or at 30 times, you will actually zoom not only into the picture off into the distance, but into the reticle, and that reticle will stay at scale to your subject off in the distance. But the main thing here, the Discoveryopt HD 5 to 30. Now there are a ton of different optics that you can get from Discoveryopt. I was looking at a slightly different model that had like Japanese glass. I'm not sure if this is technically Japanese glass on this. I believe it is simply what they're calling HD glass, or in other words, just a nice quality coated HD glass. You can see this has a fully filled out, just real nice. And I believe this is like a quality control, so assembly procedures in a quality control card. Now, sometimes these are faked, and I really hope this is real, because if this is real and it looks real, then this is very, very impressive. How many people have gone down and through here and literally tested and checked everything? That's awesome. A couple things that aren't checked. For example, the adjustment knob covers, well, not a big deal. An airtight check, I don't know. But for the most part, it looks like everything here filled out. Handwritten, possibly. Again, if that is handwritten, that says April 20th of 2023. So this looks to have been certainly filled out by the technicians. I think that's awesome. And a whole second sheet. Wow, look at this. So, I mean, if they are going through this level of detail, and I'm telling you, that is pen, and that is handwritten. This is very impressive already. Fully handwritten. In fact, that's got a little bit of a scribble because they kind of messed up as they were writing one of the numbers. That's just impressive. I like this already. I'm already just feeling really good about this experience from the overall, attention to detail and the fact that they're literally inspecting everything and proving it to us. Here's your user's manual. We will go through this in just a little bit of detail. You end up with some sort of lens flare cups. So these should go on the ends of the optics to reduce glare. Hex key. Hefty, just beefy scope rings. Look at these. That's beautiful. 34 to 35 millimeter diameter with, again, hex keys for mounting. And the optic itself, which, again, this is so far superior to anything else that I have at this point that it literally outperforms the firearms that I own. I don't have anything at this point even worthy or capable of the capabilities of the scope. Now, as we go through this, a few key details that I will just mention right off the top. So again, this has what they're calling the HD glass. So let's flip open the cap there. So coated HD glass. This should allow it to go to fairly low light. So the coatings do help with low light. You can see that there are caps on both the objective and the ocular lens. This ends up with, as I mentioned, and we'll get into that in a lot more detail, but the first focal plane reticle. This is an illuminated reticle. So inside we will be able to turn this on. It is an illuminated reticle. This has what they call zero stop. Now, again, I am certainly not an expert, and I'm not going to pretend to know everything, but what I think I know is zero stop basically means once we get this optic zeroed in, let's just say, for example, I want to zero this at 50 yards. Once I get it to zero at 50 yards, I can reset my turrets, and I reset my turrets back to zero, set my zero stop, and that means if I make any corrections from there on out, I can just simply dial this all the way back to zero, and it will stop at zero, and it's not like I'm counting clicks or wandering to find my way back to zero. So even if I'm looking through the scope, I can find my way back to zero and then make my adjustments again. Look at these turrets. These things are honking. Just huge, huge turrets. Oh, real smooth. Super nice. This is just so nice compared to anything else that I have. This is awesome. Now, this also has parallax adjustment. I am not going to pretend that I am an expert, but in other words, parallax adjustment, depending on how far out you are. So let's just say I'm at 50 yards, right? Or 100 yards. This actually has parallax adjustment up beyond 500 yards and then to infinity. Nice and smooth there, but the parallax, in essence, is the focal plane from looking through the reticle all the way out to the subject, and when you move your head, how that will dance. And when you get the parallax as you move your head, well, if you have it adjusted right, your subject and your reticle should, in theory, pretty much move together, and that aids in more and further and refined accuracy at distance and even close up, depending how you zero your scope. But that's the main features. This thing is just awesome. So let's take a look here now. Now I have to figure out how to get this turned on. If this is an illuminated reticle, that means I should basically be turning on the brightness here. And as I look, I believe this is 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to take a quick minute here and take a look at that. But you'll see the Discoveryopt logo right on the side, serial number on the bottom, your model HD Gen 2, 5 to 30X 56, which is your 56 millimeter objective lens. And then it says S, which I'm not sure exactly what S is. And then FIR, which I think that's standing for first focal plane, is what they're going for there. This cap here, I thought with thread on the front, but it does not look to grab unless this needs to come off first, which it's possible, or push on further. But in order for the this extension, yeah, so that's what happens. So if you wanted this extension on there, basically you would remove the cap, put the cap on the end of the extension, and then thread that extension on. But look how long this gets. So we'll see if I need that. Hard to say. I guess if it was a super sunny location, that would come into play. I am at this particular point typically inside a range, and an enclosed range, even though it's outdoors, so I don't end up with a lot of need for the hood. I don't get a lot of competition with the sun. Now, this isn't the best, but you can see inside there is the reticle, and you can see it is now illuminated. So I have that on. That's actually in the 6th power there. And this is zoomed all the way out, so the 5 times zoom. And actually, I lied. That was halfway through the zoom range. So here, there you go. That there is at 5 times. So you can see how small the illuminated area is. And as I zoom this in and crank it all the way down, now you can see that reticle is pretty much covering the entire ocular lens. So as you're looking in there, that tells you kind of what I was trying to say with that first focal plane versus second focal plane. It's just a different way of thinking about it and a different way of operating while you're looking through the scope. Now again, your turret's nice and large, very tactile, nice click, very smooth, beautifully knurled, so you can see around the top, nice knurling. This is going to be awesome. Now I believe, and by the looks of it, I believe there are 100 clicks in a full revolution. So in terms of your, elevation and windage, up and down, so that's going to, help you move up and down. And then obviously on this side, here is your windage, same thing. And again, these are that sort of 0 stop. So I will have to practice here and figure out how to leverage these screws to take advantage of the fact that this is 0 stop. But in essence, if I have this set properly and using the set screws, once I have everything zeroed out and I have my turrets where I want at 50 yards, call it, for example, reset my turret, remove it, put it back into place so that's at 0. And then at that point, it should allow me to come back and stop right on those locations. But I'm not exactly sure how it works. It's definitely going to take some practice and some experience, but that's what's nice about this. Having something that's more than I've ever had, I will definitely learn and grow. Focus knob does definitely seem to be very smooth, just a little bit stout, but that's not a bad thing. That's going to be nice. Obviously here I do have my diopter adjustment, so I could adjust that if I needed to. I usually don't need to adjust diopters. They're typically pretty good for me, standard right from the factory. And in terms of the scope rings, as we take a look here, again, these come with all the hardware. These are definitely just beefy. Marked here, 25 inch-pounds. So that will be the torque value for this, which is nice, 20 inch-pounds on the top. Awesome that they're marked. I love torquing my firearms equipment. I actually really feel good about that because you can cause damage and you can definitely end up with misalignments or inaccuracies due to torque. So fact of the matter is, because this is marked, that gives me confidence in the ability to get this dialed in the way I want. But very, very nice. These are just heavy duty, nice and beefy, and of course the appropriate diameter for the tubes in my particular scope. So everything I need here to get myself started, with exception of the torque wrench, but I do have one. So again, this far exceeds the performance of any rifle I have in my firearms lineup at this point. Could I put it on a 22? Sure. Could I put it on my 9mm carbine? Sure. Would I put this on my Mini 14 and shoot some 5.56? Hard to say, but we'll see. It's hard to say exactly what I'm going to do to get this out into the field. However, what I can say, first and foremost, from an unboxing, first look and impressions, I am absolutely impressed. I cannot wait to get this mounted to a rifle, and that is going to happen very, very soon. My follow-up videos will be getting this mounted, getting it set up, getting it ready, heading out to the field, getting some good practical shooting in, and hopefully just smoking my target, because the ability to go from 5 times to 30 times for me is going to be really nice quality tight up on my subject. So I should be able to pinpoint my shots and hopefully be extremely accurate. So much more to come, but I am very, very encouraged. And so to the people at Discoveryopt, thank you so much. I appreciate you sending this for review. Again, for all of you, thank you for following along. Much more to come. And if you like this content, do me a favor. Take a look at my Outer Limitless channel, which is more of my primary gear. On that channel, I cover everything from hiking, camping, and backpacking excursions, all the gear that goes with it. So from sleep systems, shelter systems, knives, axes, backpacks, flashlights, you name it. That's my Outer Limitless YouTube channel. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.